There is one clear and powerful sign of a woman's interest, yet most men fail to recognize it. It can be right in front of them, almost impossible to miss, but it often slips by simply because they do not know what to notice. You may have experienced this yourself. At a party or in a quiet coffee shop, she keeps the conversation going longer than necessary, or she positions herself closer to you than the situation requires. The connection is there, yet hesitation takes over. Later, you replay the moment in your mind, unsure if you missed the opportunity. The truth is that women rarely express their interest directly with words. Instead, they rely on a subtle and silent language made of gestures, shifts in energy, and the smallest changes in how they interact. Once you understand these cues, the hidden meaning becomes unmistakable. Among all the possible signals, one stands above the rest. It is the sign that clears away all doubt, the one that lets you know with confidence that she is open to you. When you begin to recognize it, you will also start to see the countless other signals that surround you every day. That clarity changes everything. You will no longer second-guess yourself, and you will no longer walk away wondering what might have been. You will approach with assurance, knowing you can read the truth in her actions, and that confidence will transform the way you connect. The first sign is subtle yet powerful. She moves her hair to reveal her neck. This simple gesture carries meaning that many men overlook. When a woman deliberately shifts her hair to the side, exposing the curve of her neck, she is revealing a part of herself that is both sensitive and intimate. The neck has always been associated with openness, trust, and even allure. Of course, sometimes she is only adjusting her hair or feeling warm. But when attraction is involved, there are additional signals that make the difference clear. If it is genuine interest, the movement is often paired with other cues. She may hold eye contact a little longer than usual. Her voice may soften, or she may tilt her head slightly, almost inviting your attention. Imagine a scene. Mark, 52, divorced for 2 years, is cautiously stepping back into dating. One evening, at a jazz lounge, he meets Claire, 47. They sit across the table, the conversation flows, and laughter fills the air. In the middle of a story that has everyone smiling, Claire gently sweeps her hair over her shoulder, leaving her neck visible, then rests her hand near her ear, while her gaze stays locked on Mark. Instead of rushing in or misreading the moment, Mark relies on calm self-control. He keeps speaking naturally, leans in just enough to lessen the distance, and holds her eyes without breaking the flow. His composure shows quiet confidence, which deepens her comfort. From an evolutionary perspective, the act of exposing the neck is a signal of trust and safety. In nature, creatures instinctively protect this area. For a woman to reveal it in your presence, especially in a social setting, is often a sign of comfort and potential attraction. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you only command your own mind, never external events. Her gesture is not permission to act impulsively. It is information, a sign that invites you to stay composed and aware. So how should you respond? Do not spoil the moment with awkward remarks, like pointing out what she just did. Let the interaction unfold. Keep the conversation flowing, lower your tone slightly, or maintain her gaze a little longer. These subtle responses show that you recognize her comfort without making it uncomfortable. Context always matters. If she is focused on someone else, or her body language is closed off, such as crossed arms or leaning away, the gesture may not be connected to attraction at all. Think of signals as puzzle pieces. A single one tells you little, but together they form a picture that is hard to deny. Returning to Mark and Claire. Later that night, during a more private exchange, she repeats the gesture, this time tucking her hair behind her ear and leaning forward toward him. By now, Mark has noticed other signs as well, such as light touches, genuine laughter, and the way she leans in whenever he speaks. With the pieces fitting together, he confidently suggests seeing each other again, and she agrees with ease. Recognizing these signals is not about being forceful. It is about understanding her unspoken language and responding in a way that allows attraction to grow naturally. Comment, I read the signs if this resonates with you, and keep watching to uncover more of the hidden cues that reveal what is truly happening beneath the surface. The second sign is when she blushes or becomes flustered after you compliment her. There is a world of difference between a polite thank you and the unmistakable flush of color rising on her cheeks. Blushing is an involuntary response of the nervous system that sends blood rushing to the skin's surface. When it happens in response to your words, her body is communicating a truth she may not say out loud. It reveals that something you said has touched her and created a sense of connection. Many men misinterpret this. Some point it out, which only makes her self-conscious, while others fail to notice at all, focusing only on what she says. Yet that moment of blushing is a rare slip in her usual composure. It shows that you have reached beneath the social mask. The Stoics emphasized the importance of careful observation. Epictetus reminded us that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we might listen more than we speak. In this case, listening means paying attention to everything her body expresses. A blush is her skin communicating on her behalf. This is significant because attraction is often hidden, especially in public. Many women will not openly flirt to avoid unwanted attention. But a sudden blush, triggered by a heartfelt compliment, is difficult to disguise. Even if she tries to remain neutral, her body has already betrayed her feelings. To notice it without making it obvious, watch for a quick change of color on her cheeks, neck, or ears. Look for a slight widening of her eyes or a downward glance right after you speak. She might also touch her face or hair as if to redirect attention. All of these revealed that your words affected her. The type of compliment matters. Sincere and specific compliments reach deeper than vague ones. Telling her you look nice is ordinary, but saying that color brings out your eyes beautifully or you bring such warmth into this room carries weight. A personal observation, offered with genuine appreciation, is what often triggers that authentic blush. When you see it, resist the urge to comment. If you say you're blushing, you risk making her retreat into self-consciousness. Instead, stay calm and continue the interaction naturally. Your ability to maintain composure shows her that you are confident enough not to chase reactions. The moment becomes stronger precisely because you do not force it. Still, remember that a blush is only one piece of the larger puzzle. Alone, it is meaningful but not conclusive. The Stoic way is to observe without clinging, to recognize signals without becoming desperate for them. Marcus Aurelius taught that if something is not right, do not do it, and if it is not true, do not say it. Applied here, your compliment must be authentic. You are not trying to manipulate. You are simply acknowledging what you truly notice and appreciate. Blushing is one of the few unfiltered responses the body gives. So the next time you see her cheeks warm, her gaze soften, or her words stumble after a compliment, pay attention. She is expressing more than politeness. She is revealing interest without saying a word. If you can read this silent language, you will notice truths that most men never see. The third sign is when she fidgets with her clothes or adjusts them. This is a cue most men fail to recognize. A woman may not verbalize her interest, but her hands often reveal it. When she begins smoothing her skirt, adjusting her blouse, or tugging lightly at her sleeves while in your presence, it can be more than comfort. Often it is her way of presenting herself more favorably to you. This is very different from the restless fidgeting of boredom. The key is to pay attention to timing and context. If she subtly straightens her jacket as you walk into the room, or adjusts her collar while holding eye contact during a conversation, that is intentional. It is a signal directed at you. Consider an example. Robert, 56, recently widowed, is cautiously re-entering the dating world. At a wine tasting, he meets Evelyn, 49. As they laugh over their shared dislike of sweet reds, Robert notices her glance downward and smooths the front of her blouse with both hands. She straightens her posture, tucks her hair behind her ear, and then returns her gaze to him. This sequence is not about discomfort or distraction. It is about how she appears in that exact moment to him. She is not preparing for a speech. She is signaling her awareness of his presence. From both an evolutionary and psychological perspective, this makes sense. Humans instinctively groom themselves when around those they find attractive. Adjusting clothing is a form of self-grooming, a way to subtly highlight features and maintain appearance. For women, this can mean smoothing fabric, arranging a scarf, or adjusting jewelry. It is a quiet but powerful signal of attraction. The challenge for men is awareness. You should never draw attention to it. Saying, "I saw you fix your shirt," would interrupt the natural flow and create awkwardness. Instead, observe silently and let the moment pass. Robert did not react outwardly. Later, when Evelyn adjusted her necklace as he was telling a story, he combined that with other signals he had noticed, such as her leaning in, her laughter, and the way her eyes followed him. Individually, each sign could be meaningless. Together, they formed a clear message. The Stoic approach is crucial here. You must observe calmly, without letting excitement take over. Do not act on impulse. Look for patterns, and when they become clear, move with intention. At the same time, be mindful that not every adjustment is a sign of attraction. Sometimes she may simply feel warm or uncomfortable. This is why context matters. If her body is closed off, her tone distant, or her arms crossed, the adjustment is not about you. But if she fixes her clothing while her voice softens, her posture opens, and her eyes stay on you, the meaning changes in those moments. What she is communicating is simple. She cares about how she appears because of your presence. For men like Robert, recognizing this difference can mean moving from "that was a nice chat" to understanding that he has been given a quiet invitation to connect further. Comment, "I notice everything" if you want to anchor this skill within yourself. Stay with me, because the next sign is completely silent, yet more powerful than any words. The fourth sign is when she bites or licks her lips more often than usual. This one can be confusing, because lip movements can happen for many reasons. She might be nervous, her lips may be dry, or she may do it unconsciously as a habit. But when it happens repeatedly in your presence, especially during important moments in your interaction, it is worth noticing. The lips are one of the most expressive parts of the body when it comes to attraction. They are connected to both communication and intimacy. When a woman bites or licks her lips while engaging with you, she may be revealing a heightened awareness of you and even a subtle anticipation. Context is everything. If she licks her lips while staring at her phone or looking off into the distance, it has nothing to do with you. But if it happens during a conversation with you, especially with eye contact, a slight smile, and a pause before she speaks, that is your signal. On a primal level, this draws your focus to her mouth. Biologically, it is a form of self-grooming, making her lips appear soft and inviting. In the right setting, it is far from random maintenance. It is a deliberate signal, even if she is not consciously aware of it. This is where a Stoic mindset becomes invaluable. Epictetus reminded us that we are not disturbed by events themselves, but by the way we interpret them. One instance of lip biting means little on its own. Your role is to observe patterns rather than get carried away by a single gesture. See it as part of a silent conversation. She may not be ready to verbalize her interest, so her body communicates for her in a way that feels safe. Your task is to notice without making her uncomfortable. So how do you respond? You do not call attention to it, and you do not exaggerate your reaction. Keep your composure. Hold your voice steady, slow your rhythm slightly, and meet her eyes with calm assurance. This allows her the freedom to continue signaling if her interest is real, without feeling pressured. A woman who is attracted will keep sending subtle cues, and you will not need to pull them out of her dot. Timing is another important detail. Pay attention to when it happens. Often, lip biting or licking comes just after something you said resonated with her, a compliment, a teasing remark, or a story that made her laugh. The small delay between your words and her reaction is revealing, almost as if her body is responding before her mind can regulate it. This is why context and pattern matter. No single sign is a green light. A Stoic approach requires patience and discernment. If you have seen her lean closer, maintain eye contact, and then draw attention to her lips, the overall picture becomes clearer. You are not chasing fleeting gestures. You are calmly piecing together evidence and responding with composure. A man who can notice these cues and remain steady is more attractive than one who leaps at the first hint of interest. So the next time she slowly bites her lip or runs her tongue across it while looking at you, resist the urge to react impulsively. Simply make a mental note, stay present, and allow the moment to unfold naturally. You may be surprised by how much more she communicates when she senses you will not ruin the flow by overreacting. The fifth sign is when she lightly brushes her hand against your chest or shoulder. Many men question themselves in that moment, unsure whether it was intentional or just an accident. Yet in most cases, when a woman deliberately allows her hand to cross into that space, it is not random. Touch is one of the most powerful ways human beings signal attraction. Studies in social psychology show that even a brief and subtle touch can create feelings of warmth, closeness, and trust. The key is learning to recognize when it carries meaning and what other cues surround it. Picture this. James, 54, works in finance and is attending a charity golf event. At the evening mixer, he meets Melissa, 50, who is volunteering. They begin chatting about how they got involved in the event. When James makes a light-hearted joke about his poor putting, Melissa laughs and slowly brushes her hand across his shoulder before pulling it away. It is not a playful shove or a casual pat. The contact is deliberate, brief, and paired with her smile. This type of touch, especially when combined with steady eye contact, is rarely neutral. It is her way of reducing the space between you, testing how you respond, and signaling comfort. Could it be friendly? Certainly. Some people are naturally more tactile, but context gives the answer. if this is the first time she initiates touch, and it happens alongside other signs such as open posture, leaning in, or genuine laughter, it is more than coincidence. From an evolutionary perspective, touch communicates safety and trust. In a romantic setting, the chest and shoulder are telling areas. Unlike a formal handshake or a casual touch on the elbow, this gesture reaches closer to your core. That intimacy carries weight, even if subtle. James did not overreact, nor did he rush to touch her back. He simply smiled, kept the conversation flowing, and allowed the interaction to unfold. Later, when Melissa touched his arm again while saying goodbye, the pattern was unmistakable. He had enough evidence to recognize her genuine interest. Your best response to such a gesture is calm acceptance. You do not need to point it out or mirror her immediately. The most attractive reaction is to remain grounded, smile naturally, and continue the moment with ease. This shows you are fully comfortable with her closeness. The Stoic approach is to treat her touch as information, not as a trigger to act impulsively. Your worth is not determined by whether she touches you. What matters is that you notice it and integrate it with the bigger picture. Marcus Aurelius advised being tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Here, tolerance means allowing her to reveal her interest without jumping to assumptions. Strictness means holding your composure instead of being swept away. Touch can instantly shift the emotional energy between two people. When she initiates it, especially in a setting where other signs are present, it is often a clear opening, so the next time you feel her hand lightly brushing your chest or shoulder, take a breath and recognize the significance. Do not dramatize it, and do not rush. Understand that she has chosen to close the gap, and respond by showing her that you are a man who can remain steady, observant, and confident when real connection begins to unfold. The sixth sign is when she lowers her voice and speaks more slowly once the two of you are alone. In a group, her tone might be upbeat and quick, but when you step aside together or walk in private, you notice a shift. Her voice drops, her words slow, and the atmosphere feels different. This is not her public voice. It is her intimate voice. Lowering the voice is not just about volume. It is about creating closeness. Social psychology shows that a softer, slower tone builds a sense of privacy, as if her words are reserved only for you. It is a way of reducing emotional distance before physical closeness even begins. When this happens, pay attention to what accompanies it. Is she leaning in? Holding your gaze for longer than before? Choosing her words more carefully? These layers, when combined, suggest comfort and attraction that she does not show to others. Speaking slowly often reflects a desire to savor the moment. She is not rushing. She is drawing you into a more personal rhythm. The Stoic perspective here is to observe without clinging. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that everything is the result of change. A shift in her tone is a change in dynamic, an unspoken message that deserves recognition, not overreaction. Sometimes she lowers her voice deliberately to create intimacy and gauge your response. Other times, it happens instinctively, her body and mind signaling interest without her conscious decision. Either way, it shows you are no longer just another face in the crowd. The mistake many men make is failing to notice. They are too busy thinking of their next line, or they react in a way that breaks the spell. They might joke awkwardly about the quiet tone, or look away because it feels too close. These responses dissolve the moment. The wiser response is to meet her where she is. Keep your voice steady, slow your own pace slightly, and let the interaction match her energy. This mirroring deepens the connection without the need to say, "I feel it too." This shift can occur anywhere. In a loud bar, she may lean in and speak softer so that her words reach only you. In a quiet park, the change is more obvious, as though the two of you are in your own private world. In both cases, she is creating a shared space within the larger environment. Of course, one signal is never enough. If she lowers her voice but avoids your eyes or closes off her body with crossed arms, it may be shyness or habit. Look for consistency. Does it happen again? Does it align with other signs of attraction? If it does, treat it as a door opening slightly. The Stoic approach is to step through calmly, not to push it wide. You let the conversation breathe, allowing her the space to continue or to return to her normal tone if she chooses. This balance of awareness without eagerness makes you stand out. So when you hear her voice soften and her words slow down, remember that she is offering you her undivided attention. Respond with composure, and you may find that this is the beginning of something deeper. Comment, "I hear her," if you recognize the power of this signal. The seventh sign is when she gently bites or plays with the corner of her lip. This is not the exaggerated lip bite you see in films. It is subtle, a light catch of her teeth on the corner or a playful touch of the tongue along the edge. If it happens while she is looking at you, it is almost never random. Take this example. David, 58, recently retired, visits an art gallery. He begins talking with Rachel, 51, about a painting they both admire. As she listens, her eyes drop briefly, and she softly bites the corner of her lip before looking back at him with a smile. The gesture is quick, almost instinctive, but very telling. Many men miss this moment because they are too busy planning their next words instead of observing. Yet this sign often marks a surge of interest. It releases nervous energy while drawing attention to her mouth, which is central in nonverbal attraction. From a psychological view, this is both self-grooming and self-expression. It is her body's way of signaling awareness of you without words. Its subtlety makes it powerful because it is unplanned, a raw reaction rather than a conscious performance. For David, this one gesture revealed she was not simply being polite. She was fully engaged. He did not make a comment or tease her about it. He kept his gaze steady, let the conversation flow, and allowed the moment to deepen naturally. That calmness gave him quiet control without looking like he was chasing a clue. Context is what matters. If she bites her lip while reading a menu or glancing at her phone, it has nothing to do with you. Timing is essential. The cue should ideally appear in response to your words, or in a moment where there is already a spark of chemistry. When it aligns with other signs, such as leaning closer, playful touches, or a softened tone of voice, it becomes a clear piece of the larger puzzle. The key is not to react outwardly. Do not point it out. Do not break the flow. Make a mental note. Keep your voice steady and stay present. The more secure she feels, the more often these unconscious gestures will surface. Comment, "I catch the details," if you are ready to sharpen your awareness. And stay tuned, because the next sign has nothing to do with her lips or her voice, yet it can completely shift how you interpret her interest. The eighth sign is when she touches her collarbone, or plays with her necklace while looking at you. At first glance, this might seem like a casual habit, but it carries meaning once you know what to notice. The collarbone is a delicate and visually striking part of the body, and when her hand lingers there in your presence, it often draws your attention on purpose. Sometimes she slowly traces the chain of her necklace, Other times, she lightly brushes her skin as if unconsciously highlighting it. Either way, when this gesture is paired with steady eye contact and even a subtle smile, it often signals openness and attraction. The timing matters. If she does it right after you tease her playfully, share something personal, or make her laugh, that is when the signal is strongest. Psychologists point out that people often touch areas of their body they want others to notice. Self-touch of the collarbone or necklace is not simply fidgeting. It can be a subconscious invitation or a way of channeling nervous energy while still keeping the interaction intimate. From a Stoic perspective, however, one gesture does not define reality. Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Do not let a single touch of the collarbone lead your mind into fantasy. See it as one piece of evidence, nothing more. Your task is to remain calm, disciplined, and attentive, adding this clue to the larger pattern of her behavior. The biggest mistake men make is reacting in a way that makes her self-conscious. If you stare at her hand or make a comment, she may instantly stop. The stronger move is to let the conversation continue naturally, while making a quiet mental note. If you notice the same gesture more than once, especially paired with other signals like leaning closer, a softened voice, or prolonged eye contact, the meaning becomes clearer. Pacing is another factor. A slow and deliberate touch often leans toward attraction. A quick adjustment may be practical, like fixing a clasp, but even a fleeting movement gains significance if it happens at the right moment in your exchange. By staying present and tuned in, you avoid missing what most men overlook. You are not chasing signals or rushing to conclusions. You are observing patiently, allowing patterns to reveal themselves. This is the Stoic way to approach attraction: measured, composed, and never desperate. Comment: I read the moment to claim this awareness. The ninth sign is when she chooses to sit closer to you than necessary, even in a group setting. Personal space is one of the clearest forms of nonverbal communication. Most people keep a natural buffer when they're around acquaintances. So when a woman closes that gap, especially in a situation where she had other seating options, it's usually intentional. Picture this: Mark, 55, is at a Sunday brunch with his hiking group. The table is long, with open seats scattered around. Linda, 52, arrives, scans the table, and instead of choosing an empty chair at the far end, she walks over and sits right next to Mark, close enough that their arms almost brush. She greets him with a smile, joins the conversation, and throughout the meal, she doesn't shift away. In fact, she angles her body slightly toward him. Even when engaging with others at the table, she maintains that closeness. From a psychological perspective, reducing personal space is a sign of comfort and often attraction. It's a way of saying without words, "I want to be near you." In a group context, it's even more meaningful because it reflects a conscious decision. She could have chosen distance, but didn't. That said, not every close seat is romantic interest. It could be convenience or habit. The key lies in the details. Did she have other options? Does she stay close once seated? Is her body angled toward you, knees pointing your way, or does she lean into your words? These cues help separate casual seating from genuine intention. Mark handled it well. He didn't overthink, comment, or lean in too eagerly. Instead, he simply observed. Over time, the consistency of Linda's actions told the story. Staying close even when other seats freed up, laughing freely at his jokes, and adding small touches like brushing his arm. One signal alone isn't enough. but stacked together, they formed a clear pattern. The Stoic mindset applies perfectly here. You don't get flustered or you remain steady, giving her space while respecting the choice she made to close the gap. This calm composure makes you stand out because you're not desperate for attention. You're simply grounded and observant. So, the next time a woman sits noticeably closer to you in a group setting, and it's reinforced by other signs of warmth, treat it as a strong indicator. You don't need to react dramatically or rush to do something. Sometimes, the most attractive response is simply holding your space and letting her keep choosing. Closeness.com and I notice the space to claim this awareness. And stay tuned. The final sign is bold enough to erase all doubt, yet it's the one most men still overlook. The 10th sign is when she places her hand near yours, silently inviting touch without ever asking. Hands carry a deep level of intimacy. How someone positions them can reveal far more than words. This gesture isn't loud or obvious like a hug or an arm around your shoulder. It's quiet, deliberate, and incredibly revealing. Imagine you're sitting across from her at a cafe. As you talk, she places her hand on the table, fingers relaxed, just inches from yours. Or maybe you're walking side by side, and instead of slipping her hand into her pocket or crossing her arms, she lets it hang close to yours, so close that the smallest movement could close the gap. This is no accident. It's her way of lowering barriers and giving you an easy path to physical connection while still letting you lead. From a psychological perspective, this is one of the most subtle forms of invitation. It gives her safety. If you don't respond, she can move her hand and nothing feels awkward. But if you do respond by brushing against her hand or gently letting yours rest nearby, it feels natural, unforced, almost inevitable. That's why many women use this signal when they're interested but still testing the waters. The details matter. Watch for proximity and duration. If her hand rests near yours for just a second, it could be chance. But if it lingers, open, relaxed, maybe even tapping lightly on the surface, it's a sign of comfort and trust. If it happens more than once during the same interaction, it's almost certainly intentional. This is where a Stoic mindset becomes your advantage. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." You can't control her signals. You can only notice them. What you do next should be a choice, not an impulse. Maybe you hold your ground, enjoying the moment of closeness. Or maybe, if you've seen other attraction signs stacking up, you let your hand brush hers in a calm, confident way. The key is composure. Don't jump, don't joke about it, and don't act like you've discovered a secret. Simply recognize it for what it is. A quiet invitation that says more than words ever could. Comment, "I feel the signal," to claim this awareness. With this final sign, you now see the complete picture. 10 subtle yet powerful ways women communicate attraction without ever saying it outright. The beauty of this final sign is that it manages to be both subtle and daring at the same time. Subtle, because it requires nothing more than a few inches of space. Daring, because in the unspoken language of connection, it is her way of leaning forward without ever moving her body. When this signal comes after several of the others we've explored, it is one of the clearest invitations you will ever receive without words. In that moment, your response does not need to be dramatic. Whether you gently take her hand, allow your fingers to lightly brush against hers, or simply meet her eyes with calm assurance, you are acknowledging the silent bridge she has built. This completes the picture. 10 distinct and powerful signs that reveal when a woman is showing genuine interest. The more of these signs you learn to recognize, the less you will find yourself lost in doubt or chasing after guesses. Instead, you develop the ability to read a situation with confidence, grounded in observation and composure. That clarity frees you from hesitation and second guessing, allowing you to respond naturally rather than impulsively. If you want to keep sharpening this awareness and carry yourself with the steady confidence of a Stoic, make sure you stay connected with this channel. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join me for the next video where we'll continue uncovering the silent language that shapes human connection. Thank you for spending your time here today. I value your presence, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Until then, remain calm, stay observant, and keep moving forward with purpose.